Okay, everybody, so we are back with Challenge Chats, and today we've been interviewing all the Student of the Year, so we've been going through the ringer, and today we have Kaylee Fredrick with us. So hi, Kaylee, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course. So we've been exploring all the Student of the Year, so you are the Student of the Year winner from 2022, which is when you were a junior, right? So
Yes.
you were a senior in 2023. This was a whole thing, everybody. We had like a whole. I was trying to line up all the details. So you've been out of school for just coming on a year now. They have like a new graduating class coming up, which is kind of crazy for you, huh?
Very crazy.
So what have you been up to since your graduation?
Just a lot of the same stuff, but now in college.
Yeah,
College and CrossFit, running, work, same
yeah.
old, same old.
Yeah, we always know we one of our people in this office like runs with you a lot, Stephanie. So we always get to hear about some of your crazy races that you go on.
Yeah, we run together basically every day. So,
Awesome. What's the last big race that you've done?
my last big race was Keys 100, which was a 100 miler from Key Largo to Key West.
My gosh. 100 miles, that's a lot.
A little bit.
What is like, just out of curiosity, since we're on the subject, like what is the process of like getting ready for a race like that? And what is like the actual experience of like going through that race like?
I train all the time. I run
Okay.
almost every day, and then I do different workouts like some are easy,
Okay.
speed work, hill work, just depending on the race and the terrain, like what's coming up. I've been working with the coach, so I just do what he
Oh.
tells me, so it
Yeah.
makes it easy. And then for the actual race, I love running so much, so it's just the greatest experience. Even whenever you get tired after 70 miles and you still have 30 to go, for me, I just think this is what I love to do. So I just
Yeah.
keep stepping one foot in front of the other.
That's awesome. So you do have to do a lot of training. That's nice to have a coach though. It's really important to like I feel like people always kind of forget about that like most people don't do things on their own. Like most like great people have not like found success alone. And so it's so great to have a coach, close friends, like people to support you because it really does make a difference. It helps you do like impossible things, you know.
Yeah, I know. I've been working with a coach since January and I've seen so much
Oh,
improvement
really?
just in the past like 5 months. Yeah.
And that's so
And
awesome.
for sure. And even like Johnstown Running Club, my Johnstown fam is the greatest. They've supported me the past like 6 years.
Yeah,
So
Jonestown Running Club sounds like a really fun crew. I know Stephanie's a part of them too, and they sound like it's really fun. It's like a consistent place where you have people who also run and have fun and enjoy it a lot.
yeah, you guys should come run with us.
Yeah, I said sometime I have to, even just on one of like the smaller runs or something.
Yeah.
So in your application to Student of the Year, you talked about trying to keep your grades above 98% and like finding a lot of success with that and that being a real driving force for you. So now that you've been in college, since college is a little bit of a different environment, how has that been? Has that still kind of been your goal? And have you had to like adapt anything from high school to continue to maintain that goal?
In high school, I was very, very, very hard on myself with my
Mm.
grades, hence why I always kept my grades up. And I said when I get to college, I'm not gonna do that. I'm still gonna make sure I keep
Yeah.
good grades, keep mostly A's, but if I get a B, it's not the end of the world. Most of my scholarships, I need a 3.0,
Mm.
so I've been trying to keep my GPA like 3.7 and up,
Mm.
just so I still have like high standards, but I'm not killing myself like I did in high school because
Yeah.
mental health is important too.
Yeah.
So I've been focusing on that.
Yeah, and it is really important to make goals like 98, 99% and stuff like that. But like you said, honestly, most people are scraping by with a 3.0, which is not always bad, but sometimes it's good to be realistic with yourself and give yourself, like, if there is this really difficult class that is just like tripping you up, like, don't work yourself up or get yourself in a corner over that. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly. I was like, organic chemistry, there's no need for a 99%. We don't need
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Oh my gosh, chemistry in general, because chemistry, I think one of the things that I took away from chemistry, and I don't know if you took this away too, but with a lot of chemistry experiments, it's like your percentage of error. And some chemistry labs and some chemistry teachers love to like give you a project where they know that you're going to get something like an 1,000% error, and things like that make you really sit back and be like everybody in the room got a nine like over 900% error on this. none of us are really perfect. Like
Yeah.
we're all doing our best, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're trying. We're
Yeah.
trying our hardest.
And I feel like that was a big lesson I took away. Did you feel that with any of your like chemistry classes having projects like that where like you couldn't get the perfect result that you wanted. You knew that it was going to be a certain percentage of error. And that kind of like sucks not being able to be perfect, but like overcoming that and like tackling that.
Yeah, for sure. And then they're like, what caused these sources of error? You know, you have to come up with a reason for.
Yeah. And you're like, I don't know, I did everything it said.
Yeah, exactly. I tried my best. I did what you told me.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. So you talked about also in your student of the year application, you talked about dual enrolling in general biology and secondary education. Have you still stuck on that track? Have you changed what your majors have been? How has that been going as well?
I'm still double majoring, but I
Okay.
actually added a chemistry
Oh, okay.
minor and an English as a second language certification.
Oh, okay. And that's really awesome. That's very useful in this evolving world where we have so many different languages happening in the business world. It's really great to like have a specialization even in English,
Hmm.
because a lot of people will either take that and go teach English in other countries or use that to help specialize in a company and for anybody who like English is their secondary language.
Yeah, for sure. And like having the chemistry and the biology and that certification will definitely help me get a job in a school.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and how did you decide to do that English as a language thing? How did you decide to do that with your degrees?
they were offering it, and I was like, I mean, I could do this,
Hmm.
but do I really want to? But it was only a couple extra classes, so I was like,
Okay.
I might as well. I have the room in my schedule, might as well
Yeah.
add it in.
Yeah, and that's really cool that you like explore these like opportunities that your college gives you and you're like, "Hey, what the heck? Like why don't I
Mhm.
add this because I have like the bandwidth to do it."
Yeah, exactly. And
And
it'll make me look better
yeah.
whenever I'm applying. And then if I can help other students who speak Spanish or French or whatever, help them learn English when they
Yeah.
come here.
Yeah, and that's really cool because lots of kids like or lots of students I should say would like look at something like that and be like, "Well, that's not my specialty and like I don't want to have to take like an extra class a semester or something."
Hmm.
So that's cool that you look at that kind of stuff and you're like, you know what? Like I have the room. Why don't I add more stuff to like my portfolio and like look better to other people? Because it is really great having those skills and learning that kind of stuff. I think it shows like a good part of your like mindset that like whenever an opportunity arises, instead of being like, well, I already did my thing, like I don't really want to do that. You're like, hey, what the heck? Like I have some room for it. I want to be able to tackle something else.
Yeah, might as well. I'm an ultra marathon runner. I take everything to the extreme.
Yeah. I was about to say, yeah, with all the big races that you take on, I would say that I don't think that we have any question of like your drive to do some crazy stuff whenever opportunity arises.
Yeah, why not?
So whenever you were with the challenge program, you talked a lot about like your academic and personal life and getting like some inspiration from that from the challenge program. Has the challenge program helped you evolve at all during college and tackling some of these challenges from like big races to just life stuff? Have you taken any lessons away from what you learned with the challenge program and kind of like taken that through your like adult life?
Yeah, I always talked about like in my application, I talked a lot about the why not me part, and I say that to myself all the time in my racing, like why can't I go run this?
Hmm.
Who's gonna stop me? Like
Yeah.
why can't I get my ESL cert? Why not me? So
Mhm.
I just say that with a lot of things in life in general, in school and running, just with everything.
Yeah, that's so great. So you've taken the why not me and really said like, hey, why not me?
Yeah, I've just kind of taken it and ran with it,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah, most literally, yeah.
Literally.
So you talked a little bit about like the loss of your father in your student of the year video and in your entry as well, and how that gave you a little bit of resilience and gave you a drive to both become like a better person and grow yourself as a person. Do you feel like you would be like really proud of everything you've done with your life and how you've done all these like amazing races and worked really hard to like become a better person and work away in college?
I would really hope so, but I mean, there's no way to find out. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep doing things and
Yeah.
keep trying harder and doing bigger and better things just to be sure
Yeah.
that he will be proud.
Yeah, and I think that that's so beautiful to you because everybody goes through like different tragedies in life and we all have to face like different challenges. And I think that you speaking out on that one is really important because it shows the ability to like take something that's not a great situation and it's like a tragedy in your life and be able to like take that and like grow a drive in yourself. Like, do you ever feel like because of that event in your life, you do push yourself harder than you think you would have if you never had to like go through that?
Absolutely. I think I honestly wouldn't be the person that I am today if my father were still around. Not, obviously, I wish he was,
Yeah.
but I know
And
that,
you would still be a great person if he was here,
yeah.
obviously.
But I know that I probably like wouldn't be the ultra runner that I am today because
Mhm.
that really fuels a lot of my ultra running
Yeah.
and just my drive to always be better and be a bigger person.
Yeah.
I really just want to make him proud. And
Yeah.
if he was here, it would be the same, but
Yeah.
it's not the same.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's beautiful because it's important for people to learn stuff like that. Because sadly, that's something that we all have to tackle in life as you get older, especially. Life keeps going on even whenever tragedies and other stuff strikes you. And I think that the difference between a good person and an excellent person is being able to like take those tragedies or take those hard times and learn something and grow from them and use those as building blocks to becoming a better person instead of letting them weigh you down and really like cause you to like lose your vision of who you are. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, I still struggle with it a lot,
Yeah.
even like recently, just thinking about it. It sucks. It really does.
Yeah.
But you have to feel your feels and move on. You can't just kind
Yeah.
of sit there. It sucks and you have to deal with it,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. You have to deal with it and keep moving on.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. I'm happy that you can like tackle that. And yeah, um, yeah, it's one of those things that I think it's an important conversation to have. Like loss and tragedy is never like easy. And I don't think that you ever really get over it. You just learn how to like exist with it and coexist with your feelings with it. You
Yeah.
know, like you learn to like feel it out, have your feels about it, and then continue to grow as a person.
Yeah,
That's really great.
exactly. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Of course, yeah, and I'm so happy that you get to share that with everybody because it's a hard subject to talk about. So I'm happy that you are always comfortable sharing that with other students so that they know that like I am 100% sure that there are other students out there that have lost family members, even maybe parents. And so I'm sure you speaking out about that and having that both on our previous video and on this podcast today. I like to mention it only because I feel like it's something nice for those students to be like, hey, I'm not the only one out here that had to go through this. You know, and
Yeah.
it's nice for them to hear somebody else who had to go through that.
Yeah, and honestly, recently I make a lot of like Instagram and Facebook posts about like my running and stuff, and I've been trying to be a little more vulnerable and open with that
That's great.
because everyone goes through things, but nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
And so everyone feels like they're alone, but
Yeah.
you're not. So I've just been trying to be a little more open. Like, it's okay, you're not
Mhm.
alone. We all struggle, and that's okay. And you're allowed to talk about it, and you're allowed to ask for help.
Yeah. And that's so beautiful. You're creating like a nice place for everybody, not only runners, but just people who like are intrigued by you or love watching you and seeing your success. You're reminding them that like, hey, I'm just human and you're human too, and we're all in this experience together. So let's make sure that we're there for each other. Like that's
Exactly.
so nice.
Yeah, so many people struggle nowadays, and
Yeah.
we just make it worse. Just be kind, talk to
Yeah.
each other,
Yeah,
be
that's such a
friendly.
beautiful lesson. Yeah. So you talked a little bit about your self-confidence too during the pandemic, which I think that a lot of students that had to go through the pandemic or like situations like that definitely felt that with both like self-confidence and being isolated through 2020, 2021. It's sometimes hard to like come out of that and be like, okay, now I have to coexist with other people. Now I have to get out of my head because that's the only place I've really had since all of that happened. And now I have to just be out in the world and like be confident and be around people. So how have you been like growing your self confidence and becoming like a bigger person? And how have like you kind of overcame some of those feelings or hard times from the pandemic?
Yeah, so I have always struggled to get along with my peers and people my age,
Yeah.
and the pandemic definitely made that worse.
Mhm.
So coming out of it, I've definitely just been learning how to like re-interact with people. It
Yeah.
sounds very dumb, but
No, I
I
think that lots of
yeah.
kids feel that.
Yeah, for sure. And I've definitely now, I've just found my people,
Hmm.
which I've never really had before. But within like Johnstown Running Club, I run with Steph and everyone else.
Hmm.
And at CrossFit, I really just found people that understand me, which I never had in the past.
That's
So
great.
it's definitely been a big confidence booster to know that I actually have people who will support me or if I need someone to help me out, I can
Yeah.
go ask them. So it's so nice to just have people that are there for me.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Yeah, and Stephanie, she always mentions that's when you guys like go running in the morning. And she's always like, yeah, we did like however many. She's like, yeah, we just did a short little 12 miler today or whatever. And I'm like, a short little. I'm like, all right, okay, that's fine, I guess.
Yeah, sure, a little 12 miler.
Yeah. But that is so great. It's really nice. And that's, I think people always get so worried about like being friends or being like friends with like so many people and like having so many people in their lives and doing all this stuff. But sometimes it's important to focus on having like your group of people, like a consistent group of people that you know are looking out for the best of you and concentrating on having that group first before you continue expanding into like huge swaths of friends. Because at the end of the day, it's hard and you want to have somebody to call. Somebody
Hmm.
that you can talk to and you know that they like have your best interests at heart and stuff.
Exactly. Quality over quantity.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have many friends, but I know the ones that I do have, like they are going to be there for me if I ever need them, and
Oh,
right
yeah.
back for them. If they ever call me, I will be right there.
Yeah. And that's so great. So you have a good little coalition.
Yes, exactly.
So we talked about it a little bit when we were talking about your college experience, but you do lots of stuff. You do sports, CrossFit, work, running, obviously, and college. So how has it been like doing the work-life balance, kind of balancing there? Because obviously, like college isn't really work, but obviously it's a lot of work. So how has been balancing all of that stuff, and have you found a sweet spot? Have you fallen into a spot every once in a while where it wasn't as balanced and you could kind of feel it? And then have you kind of like learned how to balance all those things in your daily life yet?
It's definitely very difficult to balance everything. There are definitely times whenever it's more work and
Yeah.
not a lot of life, but that's just kind of how it is. I tell myself, like, just get it out of the way now so that in a couple years I'll be good. But at the
Mhm.
same time, I also need to remember, YOLO.
Mhm.
I'm only going to be 19 for a couple more months. I'm only going to
Yeah.
be 20 for 12 months, 21 for 12 months. I can't really waste that time, and I just have to remember I need to work and I need to make money. I need to save money, but I also need to live a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important. It is like it's really great that we like focus and continue to like try to have these like chill experiences where we make sure to like be super fiscally responsible and make sure to always concentrate on like everything that we need to concentrate on. But yeah, giving yourself a little bit of fun and a little bit of freedom is important. Being able to like focus on like who you are and be able to go out with your friends and have like some fun times or whatever. Because there is a balance there. You have to make sure to like still be living life, but also being responsible and making sure that all your classes and all your homework are done whenever they need to be done and all that stuff. So that's great. So you have started to find a balance, even though you have a few rough patches every once in a while.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah.
We're trying to make a little more room for the life part.
Yeah, and that's so great though. Yeah, I'm sure because you have to carve out a pretty hefty amount of time for some of those big races too. I'm sure to make sure that you're like trained up and ready for them so that they go smoothly, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we run at 5:30 every morning.
Yeah, yeah, to get out of the way so that you have the rest of the day to
Yeah.
tackle everything. Yeah. Um, so your business partner from before, North American Hoganis, they talked a lot about like community service and how the community has inspired them a lot. Have you taken a message of community service into like your adult life? Have you continued to try to be involved with your community and do stuff in your local community as you've been doing college and some of these races? And I do feel I should point out first that some of these races that you do also are for charities and donations and stuff. So obviously, from that aspect, you've still been really involved with your community. But have you tried to do other community service too? And have you made sure to run some of the charity races and stuff like that?
Yeah, so a lot of the races that I do are actually nonprofit,
Oh,
so
okay.
they'll donate everything
Yeah.
to charity.
Oh,
But
that's great.
I also try a lot of races like I did last year. I'm not
Mhm.
racing as much, so I want to try and go back and help out at those races,
Oh,
like
okay. Yeah.
crewing and pacing other runners or like volunteering at an aid station, just
Hmm.
helping out however I can.
Yeah.
And also, I know Johnstown Running Club, a couple of us started going to the Humane Society and like
Mm.
taking the dogs for a walk and a run.
Aw.
So,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I mean, community service in general, people think like, oh, I had to go pick up garbage on the side of the road, which you can, but
Yeah,
you
and that's
can,
a
yeah.
useful piece of community service,
Yeah,
you
but you
know?
can find a service that is related to what you like to do. So then
Yeah.
it's not even like you're doing community service. It's like you're just having a good time,
Yeah.
but you're also helping out other people.
Yeah, yeah, like you run and you're outside a lot, so like walking those dogs really isn't like a huge job for you, but that
Hmm.
is such a big weight off your of the shoulder of some of those like humane society buildings and other stuff like
Hmm.
that, because those workers have a lot of stuff to do. So that
Exactly.
probably does help them out a lot that you guys take the dogs out on walks and stuff while they're getting other stuff cleaned up or prepared or anything like that.
Exactly. And even if you don't want to take the dogs for a walk, you can go cuddle with the cat. That's
Yeah.
actually a thing there.
Oh,
So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and support them. You can help feed the animals so that
Hmm.
while you're feeding them, you can spend some time with them too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So there's so much you can do. It's not just like the little grunge work that
Yeah, yeah.
people think of.
Yeah, there's lots of opportunities to help out. But that is great that you've helped out so much. And yeah, those races, there's so many layers to that because even if you help out with like pacing or doing some of the stations at those races, you're still supporting them because they have to like move that money and put it in the correct places. So having more people that volunteer and help them out that way makes that so much easier because they can like make sure that everything runs a lot smoother. So that
Exactly.
people want to come back and race more and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm friends with a lot of race directors,
Hmm.
so I know how hard it is to coordinate everything, to coordinate hundreds of runners running 100 miles around the woods
Yeah,
and volunteers and everything. So,
yeah.
like, it's a lot of work. So, having volunteers makes it so much easier.
Yeah, that's so great. Um, so, as a student of the year, you just continue to be like an ambassador for the challenge program, because that's what all of our student of the years are. So as like an ambassador, I wanted to see like I think it is so great that we've been getting kind of like the hearing the voices of all of our previous student of the years because now that a lot of them are starting to tackle life just like you. So they're able to like give some really meaningful advice to students because they're still close enough to high school that they remember it, but they're now making their way farther away so that they can also like have some real advice that might make a real impact on some students that hear it. So if you had any piece of advice for students in high school right now, or any like helpful tips for them or things that they should be thinking about as they're getting ready to graduate or building up to graduation or planning their futures. What kind of little piece of advice or ideas would you have for them that maybe they should focus on or a piece of advice that they should take to heart?
Definitely just the little things aren't as important as you think. That calculus test that you got a B on and you think it's the end of the world, it's okay. You're still gonna get into college. You're still gonna do good in life.
Mhm.
You're not gonna think about it in a year. I look back and I'm like, things that I thought were so important and oh my gosh, everyone's gonna hate me or whatever. No one cares. Like you're the only person that's still gonna be thinking about it in a week. It's
Yeah,
okay. And also just people say when you're a little kid, like, dream big, cliche, but genuinely do it. Dream as big as you possibly can. Think impossible things and then don't stop until you do it
yeah,
because you're genuinely capable of so much. So never limit yourself, whether you're like a first generation college student or you're going to trade school and everyone's just telling you to go to college, but you're like, that's not my passion.
yeah.
That's okay. Just dream big and follow your dreams because you can genuinely do anything.
Yeah, I love that quote from Walt Disney where he says, sometimes it's fun to do the impossible. I love that quote
Mhm.
because I feel like there is so much truth in that. And the whole like saying of like, if you shoot for the moon, you'll at least land among the stars,
Exactly.
Because it's one of those things where like, if you don't even try to imagine crazy, then how will you do anything amazing? You know what I mean? If you even shoot for crazy but you don't hit it, but now on your way to crazy, you've done this
Hmm.
amazing thing, and you've done this and this and this and this. All of a sudden, you're like, you know what? I'm mad I didn't do that, but I did a lot of stuff leading up to it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's so awesome. Yeah, I think that's great. And that's a very big thing coming from you because now that you've like had that year away from high school, you can look back at some of those moments where you were like crying over a math test or super worked up over this or really upset over how this turned out. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I like was so worried
Yeah.
about that. That's not even like in my frame of mind anymore.
Yeah, for sure. I remember just sitting in the library. I would have like full out mental breakdowns, and now I'm like, there was no point.
Yeah.
I would just work myself up for no reason.
Yeah, you were just like fully like just losing it, and now you're
Yes.
like looking back at yourself, being like, "Come on."
Yeah, yeah, really. Mrs. Kimball's sitting there trying to like fix my life when I was okay and
Yeah, you're
everything
like
was
everything's good.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny. And that's like, yeah, I think that is a great piece of advice for students because I think that it is like sometimes um it's really great. And we just had an interview last month with our, well, last month after this comes out, with our student of the year, Cole. And that was one thing that I think I took away from his interview. And it's funny that you are also there because like it's funny that all of you kind of like have this same life experience. He talked about that a lot too. Like sometimes stepping back and being like, life isn't that bad. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, yeah, this happened and it's not very fun, or this happened and it was a really rough event, but like, I'm still in good health. Like, everything's still chugging along, life is still going. And he had a really great piece of advice that was similar to yours, where it was like, sometimes sit back and be like, hey, it's all good. You know, we're still
Hmm.
doing what we need to be doing. We're still on the path we want to be on. Like, just because we tripped here, or just because it got kinked and we had to make a little detour here, we're still making our way there and it's like still okay.
Yeah, life will be okay.
Yeah.
You just can't jump to conclusions that quickly.
Yes.
Like, you can't make any rash thoughts. Don't be
Yeah.
impulsive. Just hold up.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Sit
be
with your
okay.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take a deep breath and you'll be good. Keep
Yeah.
going.
So I asked Cole this, and I think that it's a great thing to ask you guys because hopefully we'll have an interview with you in a year or two and be talking about this. So what are your like goals and aspirations right now? What are you like looking at future wise? Now that you're kind of in college, I'm sure you're starting to ponder on like some career options that you want to kind of look at and stuff. Even though nothing's set in stone, like we might interview you in 2 years and you might be totally in left or right field. But I'd just like to kind of see where you are now, so that it's also a cool experience for you that in a year or two you can listen back to this and either be like, "Oh, I'm right where I thought I was gonna be," or like, "I can't believe I thought I was gonna be there. Now I'm doing this crazy amazing thing over here."
Yeah, I'm pretty basic. I just want to be a high school biology or chemistry
Okay,
teacher.
yeah,
So,
and that's awesome. What like inspired you to want to get into that? Was it like a teacher that you had, or was it just like being able to fuel future generations?
just kind of a mix of that. I had a lot of really great teachers at Connemall Township that really changed my life, not just academically, but also personally.
Yeah,
So I want to do that for students, at least just even just one student. If I could change
yeah.
one person's life. So I knew I wanted to be a teacher, but I didn't really know in what. And then I realized I like science, I like
Mm.
biology, I like chemistry, so decided to go that way.
There you go. That's awesome. And so that is so nice. So you're hoping that you can make like a real change in somebody's life, just like a teacher did to you.
Exactly.
That's so awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kaylee. I think, oh, we were right on the dot for like 28 minutes. That's perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
So thank you so much. I think this was a great talk. I'm super excited. Oh, and I guess like this will be a little updated maybe by the point that this comes out. But what's your like next big race?
Laurel Highlands 70 miler on June 8th, and
Oh,
then
okay.
comes out after that Badwater 135 on July 22nd.
Okay, there we go. I think that this will be coming out in July, so you'll probably
Okay.
have just finished that race, maybe.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
Well, July, March, April, June, July. Oh yeah, July. Okay, I was like, I was trying to do it until I had. I was like, it's like yeah.
Yeah, July.
But that's so exciting. Okay, so how many miles is that one? The Boldwater?
135
Oh my
miles.
gosh, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But that's so exciting. So good luck on both the races. Hopefully the one that went well in June, knock on wood.
Yeah, hopefully.
But
Yeah.
hopefully the Boldwater one's gonna work out really well for you too. Well, thank you so much, Kaylee. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast, and I hope that we'll see you around the office more, hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yes.